A recent study from the BBC found that 56% of teenagers feel anxiety or stress over passing exams, more than any other factor in their lives. But that wasn't the most shocking thing about the survey. The most shocking thing is that these teenagers aren't doing anything about it. They don't even know how to combat this stress. Over the years, I've developed some simple, powerful strategies with hundreds of students as I've helped them through their exams, and they can help you plan your revision effectively, take care of yourself in the run-up to exams, and walk into that exam hall feeling calm and confident. In this video, I'm going to share those strategies with you, and it's going to take less than 5 minutes. Let's go. So firstly, if you clicked on this video, it's likely that you're feeling quite stressed right now. What we have to do is try and deal with the stress in the moment so that we can make better decisions later on. So if you're feeling stressed at any particular moment, walking into exam or a month before when you're focusing on revision and panicking a little bit, I'd suggest 2 main strategies to deal with this. What we're trying to do is trick your body into thinking it's calm, even if you're not. Firstly, breathing exercises. Now these are scientifically proven to reduce stress, lower stress hormones and reduce your heart rate, making you think you are calm even when you're not. The best way of doing this for me is a technique called box breathing. All you have to do, breathe in slowly for 5 seconds, hold that air in your lungs for 5 seconds, breathe out slowly for 5 seconds and hold the air out for 5 seconds. Keep repeating that as many times as possible. It's not going to fix your anxiety, but it might reduce it a little bit. Secondly, when you're feeling stressed or anxious, you are all in here. You are in some sort of panic cyclone where you're just going round and round, confusing yourself and panicking yourself inside your head. And we've got to get you out of there and into the moment that you're in. Best way of doing that is a grounding exercise. Look around the room that you're in right now, wherever you are. Even if it's very familiar to you, what I want you to try and do is find 5 little details in that room that you've never noticed before. Try and be as specific as possible. You've got to get to 5. Speak them out loud if you can, or talk them through very slowly in your head and be very specific about it to get yourself into the room rather than in your head. So once you've reduced that anxiety in the moment a little bit, hopefully you can think a little bit more rationally. At this point, we've got to do some more mid to long-term planning. Now these principles apply whether you are a day away from the exam or a month away from the exam. You've got to prepare as best you possibly can, and you've got to look after yourself. There has to be a balance between these 2 things. Let's look at the self-care first. When you get into an anxious mindset, it's liable that your brain is thinking that more work must be better. In fact, sometimes the opposite can be true. It's really important when planning out your revision, again, whether you've got a day or a month, that within that time you plan for something that is looking after yourself. I mean an activity that is either physical, social, or creative. Do something that makes you happy. Do something that gets outside of your room and gets some fresh air into your lungs. It will help you think clearer, you'll retain more information, and you'll be calmer when you're revising, which means that revision will be better quality. Now, let's talk about actually planning your revision. Again, these principles are the same if you've got a week to go for the exam or a month. What you want to do is make sure that you've mapped out time for school, time for hobbies, time to look after yourself. Once you've done that, we need to prioritize particular subjects. Think about what subjects you've got a lot to learn for, what subjects you might have struggled with a little bit, what subjects are going to be most important to you at your next stage of education, and prioritize those. Next, plan out in your week how many sessions of revision you've got. Don't be over ambitious. Make it reasonable and make it workable. If you're going to plan thousands of hours of revision and try and cram them into a week, you won't stick to it and it'll just make you feel like you failed. So make sure you stick to manageable chunks. Now once you've got your subjects timetabled in, it might feel like this isn't enough time to prepare for your exams, but I'll let you in on a secret. There's never enough time to prepare in the exactly perfect way that you'd like to. What you have to do is manage the resources that you've got. So what we're going to try and do is make sure each of the sessions that you use for revision is really, really effective. The way to do this is to make sure that you are doing active revision. Don't just read notes. Make mind maps, answer questions, do something that is writing something down and using your brain to process information. You'll retain it much more. Make sure also, as well as revising knowledge, you know what the contents of the exam is. It's no good revising a bunch of facts and figures and then not knowing that you need to leave 20 minutes at the end of an exam to work on a particular question because it's worth the most marks. Knowing the exam is as important as the knowledge. And again, prioritize. Just make sure you are getting better within the hour that you've got. You can't fix everything. You cannot learn all of biology in an hour, but you can get slightly better than you were an hour before, and that is the key to minimizing stress. That leads us nicely to the next stage, which is reframing the story you're telling yourself about the exams. Chances are when you're anxious, you're telling yourself a lot of negative things about how badly you're doing, about how the exams are going to go very badly. And if you've done some of those earlier stages and reduced the anxiety, now is the opportunity to try and put some positive thoughts into place. Think about how much preparation you've done over the last 5 years to get to this point, not just how the revision's gone in the last couple of weeks. That's going to stand you in good stead for the exams. Try and think about the most healthy way of preparing to get the best results, never mind looking after yourself, is to do it in a healthy, balanced way. More work doesn't necessarily equal better results. If you can try and put some of this positive thinking in place about how you can do, you'll feel much more calm and much more collected going into the exam. And lastly, if all of this is still not working, then ask for help. Don't suffer through this on your own. Talk to a friend, talk to your parents, talk to a teacher. Everybody can give you some sort of support, and they're all there wanting you to do well. The key principle here is take care of yourself, and that'll take care of the exams.